So I say we, it's like it's me and we have two other people. We're a micro brand. But we launched Ashe London 3 years ago, um, 2 weeks after I gave birth to my second son, which with hindsight was just wild. But that it is how it is. That's how the timings worked
Mhm.
out. Um, and yeah, we launched it 3 years ago with the kind of vision to just have like capture that feeling that people or that I certainly get from having my nails
Mhm.
done, which I love and I've always loved. So that's when we like officially launched. But I guess like I've reflected on it like a few times now, and I feel like actually it launched when I was 14. Like that's when the idea kind of started to form. Like when I was there in that nail salon and I had that exposure um to being in that environment. And I always laugh because I got this job in the nail salon when I was 14 and I was terrible. Like I wasn't doing nails at the time. I was just meant to be like making cups of tea for the women there who were getting their nails done. It was predominantly
Mhm.
women. And I was meant to be like sweeping up the nail clippings. We did like acrylics and we did fiberglass as well at the time
Mhm.
as well. And I was just awful because I was just spending all my time like just painting my own
Mhm.
nails, looking at the nail colors, like being in this kind of daze, wanting to do nail art. And one day, the woman who owned the salon, it was owned by like a brother and sister
Mhm.
couple. She was like basically about to sack me because I was so bad at like what I was meant to be doing. But she's like, I'm not going to sack you. I'm going to teach you to do nails because you obviously have this like passion for doing nails. So
Mhm.
I'm going to teach you. I feel like maybe at the time she was just thinking like this is just really cheap labor because I'm 14. I obviously have a talent for it and she can pay me like £1 an hour or something outrageous because I'm so young. But credit to her, like she taught me how to do nails. So I learned how to do
Mhm.
acrylics, nail extensions and manicures, pedicures, obviously. And yeah, like that, I always think about that now. And I'm like, being in that environment and working in that nail salon, it gave me so much. Like, it was my passport to everything else that I've
Right.
done.
Polish in my hand, I'm ready to create each nail a masterpiece. I can hardly wait. Soft pastels or vibrant hues, each tells a tale in their artistry of nails. Nothing ever fails. With each swirl and twirl, let the magic begin in this kingdom of gloss. There's no end to the wind. Gloss on my fingertips, watch them shine bright. Painted like a canvas, colors taking flight. Feeling fierce and fabulous, I'm ready to ignite. Slaying the nail game every single night. Nails and beauty talk with Asia the Bird. Nails and beauty talk with
Hello,
Asia
everyone,
the
and welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. Today, we have a very special guest with us today. She is the CEO and founder of Ashe London. Please welcome Ashleigh. Hello, Ashley, and welcome.
Hey, hey, thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely, you're most welcome. So I want to go ahead and get started by asking where you're originally from and tell us about your upbringing.
Yeah, so I'm from Reading, which is a town just outside of London. And I grew up with my mum and my sister for a long time. We were in a single parent household, so kind of, I guess, like normal to me, but I think it was probably tough. I think it was tough on my mum. She was really young, and she had these two babies that like by the time she was 21, she had two babies. She was by herself, mixed race
Mhm.
babies. I am Nigerian by blood, and then but brought up by my stepdad when he came along, my pops, who's from the St. Vincent. So have those kind of mixture of cultures. But yeah, for a long time it was just me, my mum, my sisters. So tough, but I think that definitely gave me like all of the kind of drive and the work ethic that I have
Mhm.
nowadays. So it was good. It was kind of normal, I guess, I think.
So I want to get into as far as your school experience. So what was like your school experience like as far as like primary school, secondary, university, and things like that?
Oh my God, primary school. I don't even think I can remember primary school. Since I have two children, two boys, and I'm pretty sure, like, after having them, my memory is just, like, shot to pieces. It's almost like some of my childhood and, like, important things are just, like, erased. They're like, you don't have space, you don't have capacity to retain that information. You just need to
Right.
focus on, like, being a mum and doing all these things. So primary school, it was cool. Um, I guess maybe I'll start with, like, university, because university often for many people is, like, it's always touted as, like, the best experience of your
Right.
life. But it wasn't for me. Like, I didn't feel that. I didn't think it was the best experience of, like, my whole entire life. I felt really lonely. I went to uni when I was a tiny bit older, like maybe 4 years older. And I know it's different in the US. I know, like, if you want to, I studied law, and I know if you want to do law, you already have to have been to uni, right? You need a kind of undergrad degree,
Hmm.
and then it's kind of your second degree. But for me, I did it when I was supposed to be 18, like that's when people normally go to uni, but I must have been about like maybe 21, 22, maybe.
Mm.
So it wasn't that much older, like in the grand scheme of things, but to me, it really felt like I was older. And I think it maybe made me like put up my guard a little bit. I was really conscious that I wasn't as young as some of the other people.
Right.
I wasn't as privileged. I went to a really good uni, and it was very, like, the people there were very, very privileged. They had massive, like, diversity issues there, as lots of good universities do.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I never felt like I really truly fit in. And I think it stopped me from doing so many things that I probably should have done. Like, I didn't put myself out there to do like all of the extracurricular activities and all that kind of stuff like people do. So I found it at times like just a really lonely place. Like, I'm grateful, obviously,
Hmm.
because it gave me all of the things that I needed. Like, I went on and I became a lawyer, for example, and I still practice law nowadays. But yeah, it wasn't that like profound time of my life that everyone says that it's going to be.
Right.
Having said that, I did meet like two of the best friends, my best friends, like in the whole world.
Hmm.
So maybe with hindsight, like maybe I feel like when you have certain experiences, like they're there to take certain things from it. And so if I got like two of the best friends in the whole world out of it, then I'd say that's probably a good experience. But yeah.
Mm. Now, what were like your earliest memories about beauty?
Wow. I think my earliest memories were really like to do with hair, if I'm
Hmm.
honest. As I said, like I grew up in a mixed race household, so my mum is like she's white British, um, and she had like at the time had like long straight blonde
Hmm.
hair, and in my eyes it was like that was what beauty should look like.
Hmm.
And so I guess sadly, like my first experiences of beauty or being conscious of beauty were negative. I didn't look like that. I had very curly hair.
Hmm.
I had a different skin tone. It was never the skin tone was never the thing. It was always hair. I was like fixated with her hair. I'd want to like brush her hair and style her hair, and I'd be like, if someone could have given me like a magic wish or like a wand or something,
Right.
to make my hair the same as hers, like I would have been like, give me it. Like obviously I would have regretted it years later, of course, but at that time, like that's what you see as beauty, and that's what was all around me as well. Obviously, like those beauty ideals that we're kind of like shown from such an early
Hmm.
age. So that was my kind of first, I guess, experience of it. I never like in terms of like makeup and nails, I was always painting my nails. Um, and nail varnish and color, I was always drawn to those things. And obviously, I'm sure we're going to talk about nails soon.
Hmm.
But even makeup, really, I didn't necessarily go through that phase of like experimenting with makeup.
Hmm.
Even now, like I'm terrible at doing makeup. I prefer like thinking of beauty as skincare. And as I've got older, I've been really focusing on like skincare and just feeling good about my skin. Um, yeah.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. So I want to get into the next question. So, who or what exposed you to the nail industry?
The nail industry, that was so I'd always had, I guess my mum must have had nail varnishes in the house because I always remember having like experimenting with nail varnish. But in terms of like my entry to the industry, um, when I was 14, there was a nail salon that opened up like down the road from my house, literally walking distance from my house.
Mhm.
And at the time, I can't do the maths, but like it was a while ago when I was 14. It was like one of the first nail salons to come to the UK,
Mhm.
really, or especially in that area. For sure, it was the first one in that area. And I almost didn't when you kind of understand, oh, of course there's nail salons, but you don't really understand it. I didn't kind of know how they worked, and I didn't have any experience of them. And so it opened up. And as I said, I was like 14 at the time. And I just looked at it and I was like, oh my God, I want to work here. This is like amazing. I love this place. There's like nail varnishes from like ceiling to floor. And
Right.
so I just went, I think I went in and I said, can I be like a Saturday girl? Like how you have Saturday girls in like hair salons, just sweeping up the
Right.
hair, like that kind of thing around school. So I did that and they took me on. And yeah, that was my first kind of exposure to, I guess, the industry.
I want to get into as far as your polished brand called Ashe London. So tell us a story about how the brand got
Mhm.
started.
So I say we, it's like it's me and we have two other people. We're a micro brand. But we launched Ashe London 3 years ago, 2 weeks after I gave birth to my second son, which with hindsight was just wild. But that it is how it is. That's how the timings worked
Mhm.
out. And yeah, we launched it 3 years ago with the kind of vision to just have like capture that feeling that people, or that I certainly get from having my nails
Mhm.
done, which I love and I've always loved. So that's when we like officially launched. But I guess like when I've reflected on it like a few times now, and I feel like actually it launched when I was 14. Like that's when the idea kind of started to form, like when I was there in that nail salon and I had that exposure um to being in that environment. And I always laugh because I went, I got this job in the nail salon when I was 14, and I was terrible. Like I wasn't doing nails at the time. I was just meant to be like making cups of tea for the women there who were getting their nails done. It was predominantly
Mhm.
women. And I was meant to be like sweeping up the nail clippings. We did like acrylics and we did fiberglass as well at the time
Mhm.
as well. And I was just awful because I was just spending all my time like just painting my own
Mhm.
nails, looking at the nail colors, like being in this kind of daze, wanting to do nail art. And one day, the woman who owned the salon, it was owned by like a brother and sister
Mhm.
couple. She was like basically about to sack me because I was so bad at like what I was meant to be doing. But she's like, I'm not going to sack you. I'm going to teach you to do nails because you obviously have this like passion for doing nails. So
Mhm.
I'm going to teach you. I feel like maybe at the time she was just thinking like this is just really cheap labor because I'm 14. I obviously have a talent for it, and she can pay me like £1 an hour or something outrageous because I'm so young. But credit to her, like she taught me how to do nails, so I learned how to do
Mhm.
acrylics, nail extensions and manicures, pedicures, obviously. And yeah, like that, I always think about that now. And I'm like, being in that environment and working in that nail salon, it gave me so much. Like, it was my passport to everything else that I've
Right.
done. It showed me women who had their own disposable income, who could go and have their nails done, who could like look after themselves and treat themselves and all of that kind of stuff. It showed me about customer service and customers and how you talk to them, how you relate to them. It gave me everything. It was very much like the foundation, and it gave me a skill as well. So throughout kind of like I had dropped out of school when I was like 16, but I went back to school and I was able to do that and to fund that because I was doing nails on the
Right.
side. And all throughout university, again, I was able to kind of fund that because of nails. So that's where it like the idea was kind of planted. And then, yeah, I guess the actual like fruition of all of that came to being 3 years ago.
Mhm. So your polishes are made with Go Green technology and it's 84% biosourced. Could you expand on these aspects of your nail
Yeah.
polishes?
Yeah, so we, as you said, it kind of what that does is we wanted to have like nail color that truly was kind of as good as it could
Mhm.
be in every sense of the word. So I
Mhm.
wanted to capture that feeling of like people just feeling good. And our strap line is like nail color that cares.
Right.
So we wanted to like in every aspect have it do good, have it be good. So that's why it's vegan, it's cruelty
Mhm.
free. The kind of go green technology is where you replace some of the like petrochemicals that are normally found in nail polish with kind of vegetal biomass. Obviously, you can tell I don't actually physically create this stuff, but
Right.
yeah, that's what we wanted to do, and that's behind the technology. And it really is just from that ethos of like if I'm going to do this, then why don't I just try and make it good in every sense of the word? We donate our a percentage of our profits to charities that are close to my
Mhm.
heart. I just really believe that if you're going to do something like in this day and age, there's just no excuse. Like, just make it as good as possible. Like,
Right.
consumers are really concerned about this stuff, so it's important. I wanted it to embody all of those things that I was passionate about. Like, as I said, I'm a lawyer. I'm a pro bono lawyer, so work with lots of charities, organisations, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And yeah, like, obviously, ultimately it's still nail varnish, right? We're not saving the world, and it's never going to be perfect. But we're kind of like, there's plastic in the lid, for example, but we are at least working towards making it slightly better, or always improving it. And hopefully, like, as we expand as a brand, we'll be able to do that more easily.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as your nail polishes, in terms of like the process, the naming of the polishes, where do you find inspiration?
Oh my God, inspiration from everywhere, everywhere. I'm like a sponge, or like a magpie. Anything I see, I'm like, oh, let me take a picture of this. Let me see that. Like, I'm influenced by that. And in terms of the names, so all of the names that we have are named after change makers. So that's people in the world that kind of make change on every type of level. So we have like Olympians, for example, to people like my nanny
Mhm.
from the St. Vincent, who came to the UK as part of the Windrush generation. Mabel, her name is. So we have Mabel, that's named after her. It's the color that I wear like
Mhm.
all the time. Yeah, so just inspired by like everyone around me, predominantly women, but not always.
Mhm.
And so that's the kind of like the naming, but also in terms of the colors as well. We, I really was like just inspired by lots of different things, like nature and people and everything. You can tell, like, it comes from
Right.
everywhere. But with the colors, I was very, very conscious to make sure that we had like a color that would not represent everyone, but would kind of, that people could connect with. I
Right.
knew, so everything that we do has like been bootstrapped. Like, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to come into the market. There are so many big players, and flood the market with like 10 shades of red. That just wasn't going to happen.
Mhm.
So I really had to make sure that had colors that people would connect with. So we have a red, for example, but for me, it's like the perfect red. It's something that you can connect with. So we have this like small collection of colors that people will really be drawn to them. I hope
Mhm.
they are. People say that. So
Mhm. Do you plan to release like other products for your brand, like, in terms of like gel polish, skincare products, or things like that, or just specifically just releasing nail lacquer?
So I think we'll always continue with nail
Mhm.
colors, so nail varnish. Yeah, I would like to. In all honesty, it's just an issue of like, it's so expensive. It's so difficult to operate in this market with players who are just massive, and they have like an infinite amount of money.
Right.
Um, I would love to. I really feel like, especially kind of complementary products, so skincare, uh, oils and creams and things, because that to me is like part of that experience.
Mhm.
Like, I grew up in nail salons. It's very much, you go there, and if you're having like a manicure or pedicure, it's about the treatment as opposed to just, here's your color, go kind of
Right.
thing. So definitely, I would like to do that in the future, and I hope that we get there.
Mhm.
But we'll see.
Mhm. Yeah, I like how, the whole thing of skincare is so important now. A lot of people are looking for skincare products to treat their eczema or psoriasis or skin condition,
Yeah,
things like that. So, like some of the stories I've heard in terms of how some people started their skincare line or hair care line, they say, "Hey, my family member went through this skin or hair condition, and that's how I started it," and things like that. So I like how it's getting more into the health conscious aspect of things, especially in the
yeah.
nail industry.
Yeah, for sure. And like, for me, there are lots of people who can't wear gels, for
Mhm,
example. So that's why I wanted to start with nail color,
mhm,
and that was the thing that I always wore. I love that you could kind of switch it up very quickly if you needed to. And yeah, just thinking about, like you say, what people are
right,
wanting. People are demanding more of their products. Like, they don't just want a cream, they want something that's going to like do something to treat
right,
them. So yeah, for sure. Like,
mhm.
I hope. Let's watch this space.
So within the journey of having your own business, what are some of the things you've learned in regards to owning and maintaining a nail polish brand?
It's hard. It's really hard. It's just so hard. It's
Mhm.
tiring. Things will not work out, or kind of you'll have an end result in mind, but the route to getting to that end result will never be easy. It will never be straightforward. There is never a day that I'm like, cool, I wanted XYZ to happen and I did this and XYZ happened. Like that is just not how things
Right.
work. And sometimes that's really frustrating. Like I'm super impatient. So for me, I find that stuff really, really frustrating that
Mhm.
like things are inefficient, or people don't do what they say they're going to do, or can't deliver what they say that they're going to deliver. All of these
Right.
things are just, it's just hard work and it's tough. And, you know, like in this industry as well, I know I keep saying it, but um, there are people that just have access to so much more resource, and when you're doing it like really really kind of bootstrapped and small scale, it's
Right.
frustrating when you can't kind of make materialize what you like, the ideas that you have in your
Right.
head. Like I would love to do so much more with the brand, especially
Mhm.
around things like, so recently we did like an Ashe Talks series where we, for Men's Mental Health Month, where we spoke to people who identify as men in the industry and kind of talked to them about mental health and masculinity and how that relates to kind of wearing nail color and
Right.
stuff. I would love to do more stuff like that. I really do think that like brands should be doing these things, and it's kind of, there's a duty on us to do these things. um but it's just difficult when you don't necessarily have the time or the resources to do that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm learning all the time that like just to keep going and to try and do what's within like my remit to be able to do for now, in the hope that eventually I can do more and I can make certain things materialize that I want.
Mhm. I think you're freezing a little bit. Okay, you're back. You was freezing a slight bit. Oh no. We can resume. Okay. All right, and we're back. All right. So, do you think the fashion industry has embraced the artistry of nails more? Why not?
Yeah, I think more recently, yeah, I would say they have. I think people, so nail techs are, now artists are certainly getting kind of more credit
Oh, you
now
froze a
for
little
the
bit.
work that they're doing.
You froze.
Okay, should I start it again?
Yeah, yes. Start it again. Oh, well, actually, I'll start the question over, and then you start to answer again.
Okay,
That's
cool.
easier. Okay. So, do you think the fashion industry has embraced the artistry of nails more? Why not?
Yeah, I think it has more for sure. I've certainly seen that now artists, now techs are getting more credit for the work that they're doing, in terms of like actual credits, like in magazines and that kind of stuff. Um,
Hmm.
I think there's a limit, like as in I think more should be done
Right.
to kind of recognize that nails are such an integral part of fashion and an outfit
Right.
and clothing, and especially like the kind of the work that nail techs. I prefer the term nail artist, because you really are kind of artists. Like it's incredible the work that's being done. Like it's true art. Like
Right.
me, I I'm a block color girl. Like I can paint you the best block color and it will look fantastic and it won't be smudged, it will be perfect. But you put like a nail art brush in my hand, I'm like, cool, I can give you some flicks.
Right. Right.
I can maybe give you like a kind of a zebra pattern, but like that's it. But you and others, like it's like actual artistry. So I definitely think there's more that should be done. I think we've made like a good step in now. At least it's not so much as it's not like nails aren't so much as an afterthought,
Right.
but in terms of the recognition and the credit, that still has further to go for sure.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. So, what are some of your favorite colors from your nail polish brand?
That question always gets me because they're all my babies. I love all of these colors. I'm like,
If
you
you had to
can't make
choose
me choose.
three,
This is
if you had to
impossible.
choose three,
Three. Oh, good. Okay, three. Three is fine. Like I can do three. So we have May, that I mentioned was like the perfect red to me. And then Mabel, of course. here, I don't know if you can see, Mabel was like on my nails, always with
Mhm.
me. I really love, actually, do you know what, that is tough because now I'm like, is it Mary and Mildred? Is it, I don't know. I'm looking it up because like I have them all like around me. I'm really like, so for me, this is obviously avoiding the question, but like I pick colors like based on like my mood and how I'm feeling. Like I've never been one to kind of be like, oh, it's spring summer, like you can only wear
Right.
pastels or you have to wear these colors or these shades and stuff, or it's winter, we have to have darker colors. I'm very much like I pick everything based on how I'm feeling or how I want to feel, like how what I need to do, which sounds so like you know, I don't know, like ridiculous almost, but like if I'm going for like a job interview or something, like I'll pick a certain color to make me feel a certain like a certain way. I really do believe in like the kind of energy or the power of certain colors. And I know that I haven't answered your question, so I'm going to say May. I'm going to say Mabel. We have like 4 new colors as well.
Oh.
Um, and yeah, which are like I'm really really proud of. And there's a kind of an orangey like corally color. I don't know where it is to hand, called Marsha, and I really love that color, and I think people will connect with that color.
Mhm. So what are some things you like about the nail industry, and what are some things you think the nail industry could be improved on?
Good question. I'm like, how honest can I be here? I'm going to be honest.
You can be very honest.
I'm going to start with the things that I love. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to start with the things that I love because I think it's always good to like start with those positives.
Yeah.
I love like now, as I said, like I think we're starting to see more recognition for nail artists and like the incredible work that's
Mhm.
done. I think that now there's more kind of access in a way, like just through things like social media. I feel like people, it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit in that the kind of startup costs are maybe a bit lower and you can kind of enter into this industry maybe more easily than you might otherwise have, and you can build up a following and you can kind
Right.
of get the praise and the things that you deserve perhaps a bit more easily. um but having said that, the negatives, oh my goodness, the negatives, I really think that the nail industry is just dominated by certain big brands and they are really truly like monopolizing things. So, you know, which kind of and they're kind of they're setting the trend or the tone, and the tone or the trend is very much like you have to have a hand that looks a certain way, and it doesn't look that skin tone. It's a long white kind of slender hand, and that's what will get you kind of paid work, or that's what will get you more views on Instagram, all of that kind of stuff, and that comes from the top down. Those big brands who are kind of using the same artists, using the same hand models, not being diverse at all. We still have a massive diversity issue in the nail industry, and it's frustrating. There are and I mean monopoly like in its proper sense. We have like Ashe brand ambassadors, and we work with them, and they're kind of like they give us feedback and they make content for us and they kind of just spread the word about Ashe and really get behind the brand.
Right.
um and there are some, and like when we were kind of selecting them, they were like, oh, am I allowed to kind of post about other brands? And I'm like, huh, yeah, like I'm not your mother. You can do whatever you need to do, like you can work with other brands, you can use other brands, that kind of stuff. But there are other bigger brands that are kind of saying, look, if you want to be an ambassador or if you want to be someone who kind of a representative of our brand, like you can't even look at other nail colors and other nail brands, which is just wrong. Like I'm
Right.
not about that at all. I also hate that we're still using kind of that nude terminology to refer to nudes that are not nude shades for everyone. I could really go on here. I'm trying not to make it negative, but like there's still a
Mhm.
lot. Like there's a long way to go, and I think that
Mhm.
it's frustrating.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing, I've interviewed people as far as, in terms of, asking about, the representation in the UK, especially Black representation, and it's very, 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 very small. is the
Yeah,
nail industry in the UK. I've never been to the UK, but based on my observation, it is very white dominated. And the
100%.
thing is that, like,
100%.
with the nail industry, especially, in the US also, it's the racism, also as well. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I've seen and I've witnessed certain people, of influence in the nail industry or certain brands practice anti-black racism or showcase their no, their anti-black racism. And it's just unfortunate. And I think definitely more diversity has to be improved a lot more in the nail industry. More professionalism has to be practiced more. So that's just in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And I feel like in the UK, um, you have certain black nail artists who have reached kind of the heights of whatever, and they are very kind of famous for the work they do, rightly so. But then it's kind of like others will kind of like only use them and not kind of use others. Like it's almost like it's like tokenism is what I'm trying to say. So they'll use them and say, well, like it's cool, we're diverse, we used XYZ, and it's like that's like this is not how diversity works.
Mhm.
Like, and I there's a part of me as well that finds it frustrating that certain brands, because they have kind of more resources, more money. I sound like I'm really bitter. I'm not, but like
Right, right.
they're able to really like I don't know, use certain people in a way that makes them appear like they're way more diverse than they are. Like they could go out and they could get like, I don't know, 10 black models, for example, to kind of feature in their latest ad or campaign, where they don't, but they could. Um, but when they're doing that stuff, it's like, look, we're so diverse. Look at this person. Look, when it comes to Black History Month, we can post this person. Look, we're like, and it's like, no, 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 because the people like it high up in those organizations, as in every industry in the UK, they're not diverse at all. You're just kind of
Right.
like capitalizing off of, you know, black, normally women, which is frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how do you juggle being a businesswoman with life and mental health?
Oh my goodness, good question. I'm not sure that I am juggling it very well, but I'm really trying. Like, it's a process.
Right.
And I have like, as I said, like I have two children and they're young. So I have a 2 year old, he just turned 3, and a 6 year old. And I also have a full time job. So I have a full time job that is as a lawyer that I do alongside Ashe London.
Mhm.
Um, and so I constantly feel like I'm being stretched or I'm not dedicating enough time to one of those things. Like, and that's before you even get like, I'm also like a daughter and
Right.
a sister,
Mhm.
and a friend and all those kinds of things, like a partner to
Right.
someone. So I constantly feel like I'm stretched and feel like I'm not doing enough at any one of those things. And that to me is really, really tough. I find that really difficult, the juggle just generally.
Right.
um, but in terms of mental health, I try, as I said, like I've got a really good support network of people who kind of like champion me and look after me and I can talk to. Um, and that kind of keeps me
Mhm.
going. I try my hardest as well to kind of take time where I can. Sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes it's just like, you know what, I'm just going to have a shower without a toddler running in and being like, hey. Um, and that's all I get. I've tried to do more exercise as well, and fit that in because I find that really helps me just to clear my head and just for like that moment of time. I tend to do like a class or like a Pilates class or something, but that's the only time where I really truly switch off from everything else. And I don't get that very often. I've got like an internal dialogue that's just going all the time.
Mhm.
But when I do certain activities, like certain sports or exercise, it truly just like it's silenced, and that is incredible for me. So I'm just trying. If you have tips, tell me them because look, it's hard. It's really frustrating. It's really difficult. I think that again, just kind of being in this industry, but like being in lots of different kind of lots of different industries and being across different bits and pieces as well,
Right.
like is even tougher because I'm very often like a minority in all of them, and so I find that draining. I find that tiring. I find that hard at times.
Mm. Now, if you could offer one valuable piece of advice for up and coming business owners, nail techs, and nail artists, what would it be?
I'm so bad at giving advice, like, out of context. If you have a specific problem and you come to me and you're like, "Ashleigh, I've got this problem, give me some advice." I'll be like, "Look, I can tell you exactly what to do." But when it's like just like general advice, I'm just not the person for you. What would I say? Maybe it's just to this is so cliche. Oh my God, yeah. Maybe it's just like to just do it, to like to keep going, to try these
Mhm.
things. Um, because very often that kind of we're held back from so much. Um, yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, we're just really often held back from so much that just be the person who's like, no, I'm not going to listen to
Right.
that. And maybe actually, maybe better, maybe ignore all of that stuff, but like maybe what's better is outside of like trying to do all of those things and building a career in the nail industry or any industry is just like remembering who you are outside of
Right.
that. That would be my one piece of advice. Ignore all the other stuff. It's like, yeah, you're a person. Like, I think it's really easy to get caught up, and I've done this myself, like on
Mhm.
other people, like external, like thoughts and opinions about you and how people kind of see you, like
Right.
how many likes you're getting for your posts, how many followers. Oh my goodness, like we're a brand for like what 3 years, and we don't have like masses of followers, and it's really easy to fixate on all of those things, but like. I'm still a person, like I'm still a mum, I'm still a friend outside of all of that stuff. Even if someone is not reposting me, or even if someone is not buying my nail colors or is not kind of vibing with them, I'm still a person. I still have value. I still have lots of things to contribute outside of that.
Mhm.
So maybe that's the one piece of advice, maybe, is to hold on to that, like you outside of all of this other bullshit.
Yes, absolutely. Last but not least, where can people find you on social media, and how can people support Ashe London?
Yeah, and thank you so much for pronouncing it correctly as well. Everyone, because my name obviously is Ashleigh, and people call me Ash as well. Everyone is like, "Oh, it's Ashe London," but if anyone who like knows me knows I would never name a nail varnish brand after myself. Like, I would name it after anyone before I named it after myself.
Mhm.
So the word is Ashe, and it comes from a Yoruba word, which is like the power to create change, and it's like an anglicized version of that, which is how you get Ashe. It just so happens to be very similar
Mhm.
to my name. So thank you. I had to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Where can you follow us? How can you support? So we have obviously Instagram, which is Ashe London Official. We have our website, which is ashelondon.com. And then supporting, like really supporting to me is like, obviously we're a business or a brand, like we want you to shop our colors for sure, but more than that, it's just like just speaking up for the brand, like mentioning the brand, connecting with the colors, giving feedback on the colors, making suggestions, like really just, yeah, like I always wanted to have a brand that was more than just like that very transactional, I'm selling you a nail color and that's it, it's done. So any way that you feel that you can kind of support us in that real holistic way, like get involved in the conversations that we're having, like I said, about around like things like men's mental health or around diversity in the industry, would be amazing. And I'm so grateful to it. Like even now, it kind of sometimes I'm just like, oh wow, people actually like interact with the brand, or people actually like bought a color and say they love this color.
Right.
Like that to me is just like the nicest feeling, the thought that like people are at home and like they're looking down at their toes and they're like, hey, I feel a bit nicer because I have this color on. Like that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for jumping on. I appreciate this conversation. I
You're
love what you're doing as
welcome.
well with Ashe London. I
Thank
found
you.
out about you on Instagram. I forgot how I ran into you, but I ran into you on Instagram. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for being transparent, sharing your story as well. I enjoyed it really. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you. And yeah, I hope that we get to chat again
Yes,
soon.
absolutely. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms. And be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye-bye.